Hey Ryan, Hardesty here, and this is going to be part two of my series going through the questions from the book Tribe of Mentors by Tim Ferriss. So in this video, I'm going to cover three questions and try to knock out a couple of them pretty quick and probably dive a little bit deeper into the last one. So the first question I want to go through is, what purchase of $100 or less have you made in the last 6 months that's had the biggest impact on your life? So for this, it's pretty simple for me. I do a lot of writing as far as, if you've seen in some of my other videos, I talk about my note-taking, moving away from my iPad and moving into a journal style note-taking. And so one of the things that I've added, and it's been longer than 6 months, but it's a multicolored pen. So it's a pen that is able to feature multiple colors. And in the cases that I use, I also use one with a pencil. So for a while I was using a 4-color pen plus a pencil, so a 5-feature, I guess, pen. Right now I'm using this pen, which is the Cross Tech 3. It's a pretty awesome pen. It looks just like a normal pen, but when you click it, you've got it's black, red, and a mechanical pencil. So I can talk a little bit about how I use each of those. I use the black for what you'd think, just normal note-taking. So all of my normal written stuff, I use black for. In my journal and in any of my note-taking, I use red to emphasize anything. So underline something I've written, put an asterisk next to it if I've delegated a task. Sometimes I'll write the person's name next to that task that was delegated in red, just so it jumps out a little bit more. So when I'm going back through my notes, I can actually see who I assigned that to. And then the last one I use is the mechanical pencil, and I actually use this quite a bit when I'm reading. So I use this to underline passages, to make notes in the margins. This pen also has, you can see here up on the top, this is a stylus, so I can use this on my iPhone, any touch screens on my iPad. So it's nice because I can just, as I'm taking notes, if I need to swipe or tap or anything on a touch screen, it's easily accessible. I don't really use it like a pen on my iPad to take notes with it. I've never been successful using a stylus like this for that. And then the last thing that it has as far as features go is you unscrew this and it's got an eraser. So a great little feature for the mechanical pencil on there. But again, it's just the Cross Tech 3. I've seen these anywhere from 30 or 40 bucks up to, gosh, close to $100, depending on which model you have. I like this one because it's all black. It's pretty sweet looking, and that's it. That's my purchase of $100 or less that's had the biggest impact. I don't know how monumental that is in my overall life, but it's a great pen, and I use it quite a bit. So the second question is, what is an unusual habit or absurd thing that you love? So for me, I make weird rules for myself, and this is something that I've kind of done always. I just make up boundaries where they don't exist because I really function well in a structured environment. And so if I don't have structure around something, I will add it in. So when I started doing more handwritten notes, one of the things that I did is I decided, alongside needing to start taking notes, that I needed to improve my handwriting specifically on the whiteboard, because I do a lot of meetings where I'm leading the meeting from the whiteboard. And I decided that the most effective style of writing for me, for writing on the whiteboard, would be all caps. So I took a year and I wrote in only all caps, teaching myself to be effective in writing in all caps. Kind of following that next year, I switched over to cursive because I became very good at writing in all caps. I realized that it's not the fastest way to write, so for note-taking, I wanted to be able to be more efficient. So I moved 100% away from all caps to cursive. Now when I write on whiteboards and I'm doing stuff for presentations, I'll still use all caps, and I've retained that skill of writing legibly and well in all caps. But now when I do all of my note taking, I write in cursive. Unless I have something that I need to make bold, or I need to have stand out or a title, then I'll write that in all caps. But it's just kind of like a weird thing that I set up these rules for myself. When I get out of my car, I do not allow myself to lock my car from the button on the side of my door. I make myself use the remote key so I can't lock my keys in my car. I actually locked my keys in my car, I think it was like 3 times in a single month. I hadn't been used to the new vehicle that I'd had at the time, and I would just lock the door as I opened it, and sometimes I had left the key in the ignition or something like that. So I just changed how I do that. I now, even if I lock the door by push button, I'll actually unlock it, get out, and make myself lock it with the remote, because I've created that as kind of a rule for myself. So I've got a bunch of little weird, quirky stuff like that. I don't want to dig into too many of them. You guys will think I'm a total psycho, but that's kind of the unusual habit. My unusual habit is I create unusual habits. I make rules for myself when I don't need rules necessarily, but I really do find that additional structure helps me to be more organized, to move closer to developing better habits and better behaviors to elicit the kind of results that I'm looking for. Question number 3. In the last 5 years, what have you gotten better at saying no to? So for me, it's I don't know, it's saying yes to less. It's not really me trying to avoid doing stuff, but it's me delegating stuff to my team. It's really important that we realize that we can't do everything. And I know a lot of times you guys as top performers, and it's something that I've struggled with, you start to think that if I have somebody else do it, it's not going to be done as well, as quickly, and there's an opportunity for failure. And if there's an opportunity for failure and the quality isn't going to be there, whether that's quality of communication, quality of a final product, and it's going to take longer, then what's the point? I might as well do it myself. And that mentality is something that I see a lot with individual top performers. It's not something that can exist with a strong team leader. So a lot of people who are individual top performers get moved into management and supervisorial positions, and they have a hard time with it because they can't delegate, because they were performing a high-performing individual and they weren't somebody who pulled a team together to execute. What happened with me is I would say yes to everything. And if you're early in your career, say yes. Say yes a lot. Commit yourself and perform and work hard and do everything you can to get the opportunities to succeed, because it's about reps. It's about putting yourself in the situation for something good to happen. So say yes a lot. This question of saying no, in my case, where I think about it, is I can't do everything. I run our Garden Grove office, which supports Orange County, LA, San Bernardino, Riverside. We cover a massive market. We do tens of millions of dollars worth of work, and I can't do all of it. So I have to rely on my team to be able to execute projects, to be able to take care of our customers, to be able to bring new opportunities to the table. And that means that I have to delegate a lot. And this was not easy for me at first. It was an area that I really struggled with, and I was slow to adapt. I would actually keep all of the tasks that were customer facing and hold them close to me, making sure that I was the one that was doing them, because I didn't trust my team. It wasn't because my team wasn't capable. I had an amazing team, but I was scared that they would fail and that would make us fail as a team. I was scared for them more than I was scared for me. And when I started looking at this, and it was about 5 years ago, I started looking at this and I started realizing that by sheltering that person or those people, my team, from actually handling stuff more customer facing, from doing the project management side of their job instead of just the execution side, I was hindering their ability to move forward in their career. And that's not good for anybody. It wasn't good for me because it was causing me to be overworked. It wasn't good for them because it was allowing them to kind of be idle in their development, in their career. And I don't mean them as an individual. I was my whole team. Like, I was trying to hold on to all of this. And so about 5 years ago, I started looking at it and realizing that I needed to delegate tasks that I hadn't been comfortable with in the past to them, to my team, so that they could grow. And I had to realize that they would fail. And I needed to be okay with that to an extent, right? I didn't want our team to fail. I didn't want our customers to have a bad experience, but I needed to let them get some bumps and bruises and kind of learn their way through. And so what this meant is, as they're going through and as I'm delegating tasks, I had to manage them, mentor them, and train them on how to do all of that. But I couldn't do it for them. And that's really hard. And if you guys are like I am, where you're very kind of controlling and want to make sure that you're doing everything and know exactly how you want it done, it's really hard when you start to delegate stuff to your team. So as I started delegating stuff to my team, we started to run in, things got a little bit rocky here and there, but overall they did awesome. And what my new role was, instead of holding on to all of these tasks and being afraid to give them out, it was to mentor and develop this team, which allowed my team to grow. And so when I moved into the role of vice president and kind of took over our Orange County, LA office, that model of me needing to delegate exploded, because I went from running a team to running multiple teams in an office covering a huge geography, doing, 3 times or 4 times the volume of the work that I was doing previously, and everything got even harder with that. And I couldn't hold on to it. I had to delegate. And so through doing that, I realized that not only couldn't I do everything, but I needed to delegate to people who were then going to delegate to other people. And it becomes this point where your ability to mentor and train and work with one-on-one and set kind of expectations and goals for an individual to really understand what you expect of them and what you're looking for as far as the result of what they're doing without micromanaging how they do each and every little task is really critical. So delegation, as somebody who had a very difficult time with that in the past, has become one of the things that I try to develop in myself to become better and better at, because that is the tool through delegation, mentorship, training, and development of my overall team that I'll be able to continue to grow what we're able to do within the marketplace for our customers, be able to provide a higher level of service, and be able to ensure that every project goes off without a hitch, that the level of communication, quality, and everything that I would expect from myself is happening on a project by other individuals. The only way that I can do that is by delegating. And even though I know that things may slip a little bit, that it may take a little bit longer, I have to know that and understand it, but also be willing to work with that person to continue to develop them, to be able to continue to mentor them. And it takes longer, and it's harder to delegate than it is to do it yourself. But it's the only way that you're going to build a strong team. It's the only way that I've been able to build my team to be able to support the projects and stuff that we're doing. Like, it's critical. So that's question number 3. As far as what I have gotten better at saying no to. All right, just wrapping up part 2 of my series on Tribe of Mentors by Tim Ferriss. So just running through the 11 questions from his book. So quick recap. Purchase of $100 or less, I use a Cross Tech 3 multi-function pen. Writes in black, red pencil. It's got an eraser and a stylus for your electronic devices. My unusual habit is that I create weird rules for myself that I follow for long periods of time, some of them indefinitely. So whether that's my handwriting, how I lock my car, or actually a lot of other stuff that I do in my life. I create weird rules to create structure in my life, and that helps keep me on track. And then the last one, what I've gotten better at saying no to, is kind of a little bit of everything. I've gotten better at delegation, and I think that that's a key leadership skill. So if delegation is something you struggle with, really take a look at it and think, is that something that's holding you back as a leader within your team? Is your lack of willingness to give up some of the things that you're responsible for, to train and to develop and mentor the people around you? What you pour into the people around you is really what makes the biggest difference in your success, and it's really amazing to move the needle in somebody else's life, being able to give them the opportunity to succeed. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, just general feedback, I'd love to hear from you guys. So make sure to drop me a comment in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit like. If you think one of your friends would benefit from this information, make sure to share it with them. My name's Ryan Hardesty, and have a great week.